Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we have the Yakima LongHaul hanging RV bike rack. So this is going to be a look at how it fits our 2017 American Coach American Revolution motorhome. So for hanging racks, these are ideal if you want something that takes up less space, is a bit more affordable, and is easier to install. I usually don't prefer hanging racks for RVs and motorhomes because they're usually not as sturdy. But in the case of the LongHaul, it's what they say over-engineered to make sure it's extra stable. Now what we have here is the 4-bike version where you can carry up to 4 bikes without taking up much space. This has your basic features like the arms fold up as well as fold down to be more compact, and you have your signature Yakima bottle opener at the end. But what types of bikes can the rack carry? Well, we have our mountain bike here, and when it comes to the frame, we've actually pretty much maxed out the frame size without getting an adapter bar. There's 3 touch points, 1, 2 for the top, and then the third is going to be our anti-sway. If you have a frame like this where the wheel comes really close to the frame, you might not be able to take full advantage of that anti-sway. And when you have multiple bikes, you may need to get an extra strap to hold the front wheels together to prevent sway. What we're going to do is we're going to take the bike off. And I'll start down here with the zip strips. It's a bit of a tight fit, but we got them. You can see how fast they are to use up top. Press the levers, lift up on the zip strips. I like to put them on to the arms so that they're out of the way, but also not lost. Once the zip strips are off, we can then take the bike off. The maximum weight capacity for this bike rack is going to be 37.5 pounds per bike. So if you have extra heavy electric bikes, this would not be ideal. But for most of your mountain bikes, your kids' bikes with adapter bars, and your road bikes, this should be good. Now the downside though to a hanging rack is that this is really tricky to use and to take the bikes off. And once you have multiple bikes on there, you know that it's going to be even trickier. We're almost there. This is when I would recommend getting a platform rack if you don't need to carry as many bikes around. Now, I'm going to set the bikes aside so you can take a look at those cradles there. Notice how you have the rubber padding on those cradles. That's to help give a little bit more grip to your bike's frame, but also to cushion it. There's a little bit of adjustability on this when it comes to your bike's frame, but not as much as something like the Kurt Premium rack or the hanging racks where you can completely rotate the cradles. These pivot out to hold your down tube, and then they push back in to give you better clearance when putting bikes on and taking bikes off. As you saw with my struggle earlier, you're going to need all the clearance you can get. Now speaking of clearance, let's talk about measurements. So when you want to carry around more bikes, that's also more space that you're going to add to the back of your RV. Taking some measurements here, we're going to go from the bumper to the end of the rack by the bottle openers. I have it at 43.5 inches. That's just something to remember if you're just driving around, if you're parked, and you would make sure that you're not running into your rack. And if you want to, you can fold this down to be more compact and neat. So the arms do go down. This is preferred for people that have this stored inside their garage when not in use. You pull this lever. Once that lever is pulled, you can then pivot this down, and it snaps into place. So you can see it's locked while there's movement. It doesn't swing all the way back out. Taking quick measurements again here, from the bumper to the end of the rack, I now have it at 16 inches. So big difference compared to when the arms were folded up. This is super stable. It does not tilt away though, so if you need to access the inside of here, you are going to have to take the bike rack off. It is secured in your hitch receiver with a 2-inch shank and an anti-rattle bolt. The anti-rattle bolt does have a clip on it right now, so be mindful that if you do want to utilize the cable lock with this rack, you're going to have to make sure they're all in place and they're all attached because the cable lock is separate and not attached to the arms like you would see for some of the other Yakima bike racks. So for a simple hanging rack that is designed for your motorhome, this is going to be a great way to start. If you do have bikes different shapes and sizes, you saw my struggle with taking the bike off. That might be your struggle too. I would then recommend taking a look at your platform rack options. Unfortunately, for motorhomes, you're usually limited to a 2-bike platform rack. Something like the Ceres MHS is a heavy-duty RV bike rack alternative that you may want to consider. But this right here was a look at the Yakima LongHaul RV bike rack on our 2017 American Revolution motorhome.
Now we're going to go ahead and take it on our test course. First, we'll start with the slaloms. This is going to show the side-to-side action. It's kind of going to mimic the movements that you'll see whenever you're driving down the road normally. And now with the fold speed bumps, these are going to be pretty much like normal speed bumps. You get to see the up and down action of the bike rack and see how it holds up. Now we'll have the alternating speed bumps. This is going to be more so like the uneven roads and some of that uneven terrain you might be traveling on.